So Eithne, thanks very much for doing this. So tell us a little bit about, you were born out this way, right?
I was born in 240 St John's Park in the front bedroom, upstairs.
Or where did you come in the family?
I was number 6
Okay.
out of 14.
So it's a big gang.
It's a big gang. A really big gang. 8 girls and 5 boys.
Okay.
Mm.
And how did you manage it? I mean, it was quite a small house for a lot of you.
It was a very small house. There was 3 at the top of the bed and 2 at the end of the bed. That was in... And then we had 2 single beds as well. It was 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there was probably 1 on the way.
Okay.
And the mammy and daddy had the smallest bedroom. And then the boys had the second smallest bedroom. The girls always had the biggest and the boys then were down after.
And like, having a whole load of girls together in one bedroom was a murder.
No.
No?
We sang ourselves to sleep every night.
Go away.
Yeah.
And your house was a big singing house, wasn't it?
It was a big singing house, yeah.
Okay.
We always sang.
Okay. And that was because your dad was into music, was it?
Well, Dad always he used to always sing like in the pubs and in the singing pubs and all that. But when we were children, we used to sing ourselves to sleep. There were so many of us in it, do you know what I mean? And downstairs, sure, you'd be hearing the roars and shouts, shut up there, whatever. But yeah, we all sang ourselves to sleep. It was just our way and what we done. It was fun.
And what song
Going
did
to sleep.
you sing? Was it a pop song?
Oh God, everything and anything we sang.
Like what?
We even made up our own songs. It was just mad. We just sang everything. Do you know, any pop song would be in there. Some of us would be smaller, do you know what I mean? The smaller ones, and we'd kind of sing them to sleep first, and then we go on to the bigger ones when they're asleep. But you'd have to get quieter and quieter. And you just sang yourself to sleep, and you got tired. And that was it, and that's what we done, yeah.
And your dad, you said he worked in Clover.
My dad worked in Clover all his life, yeah.
Okay. And what did he do over there?
Well, he was just in the factory. He was everywhere and anywhere in the factory. But he was there so long that everyone called him the cat. Like, he was the top man. Everyone was afraid of him. He was kind of like a boss, as he thought. Do you know, my father was always kind of out there and thought he was a big man, but he was a small man, but with a big mouth.
So he thought he was the boss?
Yeah, he was kind of, yeah, everyone kind of classed him as the boss. There was 4 of the girls. There was Carl, Joan, myself and Annette worked in Clover Meats, and Dad was the cat and we were the kittens. Yeah, so everyone over in Clover Meats, men, boys and whatever, had a fear of my father because he was an angry man sometimes.
Or was he a tough man?
He was a very tough man, he was, yeah.
Okay, so he wasn't going to be pushed around?
He wasn't going to be pushed around, no, because he had a tough life and he got pushed around in his younger years, so,
I didn't ask Saki this, but do you remember the whole thing about the scabs in Clover Meats and the strike and all that? Do you remember that story?
I don't really,
Okay.
to be
So
honest.
before your time, yeah.
It was, I'd say, more than likely, yeah.
It goes way
Well, I
back.
was there up to the when they closed down. Like, my daddy he was there all his life and got nothing out of it, pittance. Do you know what I mean? He served, I don't know, was he 30-something or 40-something years? Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but they made it on their meat.
Yeah.
Do you know? So, like, they got their meat parcels and they got bargains with them, and then whatever they could shove down their boots or their trousers, they brought home as well. Do you know what I mean? So, and what happened then was there were so many of us in it. And we say the neighbours, all our neighbours, we say like Mrs. Burke and Mrs. Mack up the road and Terry Nolan and the Dewberrys and all them, like all in our corner in the square. Like everything was swapped. Do you know? So Mrs. Burke might make a round of brown and Mammy would give her a pork steak. And he'd give someone else a few chops and they'd give us a pound of butter. So we shared everything, so all the families were fed.
So you were looking after the whole area then?
We were all, yeah, everyone looked after each other.
Yeah.
Everything was shared.
Yeah. It's a good system.
It was absolutely brilliant, so no one went hungry, do you know? And if anyone was hungry, then they were always given something. You know, it was shared and shared. Everything was shared. Because my dad worked in Clover Meats, we had the meat, which was good. So then everyone else then had a bit of meat, and then we got the butter maybe and the spuds, and we saved a bit of bread. But we were well fed on meat.
And like there was quite a lot of people worked over there from here.
There were.
Was that because people got each other jobs, or how did that work?
Everyone got each other jobs. Everybody, yeah. Everyone looked after each other.
Pulled a few strings.
Absolutely, yeah. And once you knew someone, you got them in, and that was it. What, like now, you didn't have to go for an interview. Your name was given. Look, that's my daughter, and she's such and such an age. Okay, it's looking for someone. Tell her to come in on Monday. No interviews, no nothing. I never went for an interview my whole life for jobs.
Gas,
Never.
so it was on the strength that someone stood for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know? It's not like it is now. Like.
And how did you get over and back from Christendom? It was a long distance.
Well, Dad was there a couple of years. Actually, we got lifts off of a couple of neighbours at first, or we'd walk to the bridge and we'd get a lift from the bridge, then someone else would pick us up and bring us the rest of the way home, and then on the way home we get a lift to the bridge and walk the rest of the way home, or get the bus.
Yeah.
You know, you go so far. And then Dad got a car, so then he was able to bring us, do you know what I mean?
Did you mind, what section did you work in?
I worked in the cannon department, where they made all the cans of
Stew.
corned beef and stew and all that, yeah.
And
Some place to work.
Did you like it, the factory there?
Loved it.
Did you?
Some factory to work in, yeah.
Because I mean, there was an awful lot of cleaning and all that kind of washing down and all that kind of stuff. It was all very hygiene.
Well, we never saw that, you see, because we were the day workers, and the night shifts were all different then.
Okay.
Do you know? So that would have been a completely different end to our end, do you know? So, but it was great over there. Like, they had big huge kitchen over there. You get your dinner, you get a 3-course meal, and the best of meat, as you know, like steak dinners, you get ribs, you get big stews, you get everything for, I think it was only a couple of pence at the time, do you know, because you were working there. So you were fed then that day as well.
And to go back to like you when you were a child, you were born out here, were you?
I was born in 240 in the square, in the front bedroom.
Yeah. And then did you go to the Ursuline?
I did. I went to the Ursuline.
And there was a funny system in the Ursuline where there was 3 different types of schools there. There was St Angela's, there was the Ursuline, and then there's the Borders or something.
Yeah, St Angela's was for when you were a baby.
Oh, right.
And then the Ursuline was kind of when you went into, we say, first standard. And then you went into the secondary then after that. Like.
But wasn't there a posh school as well? Yeah.
The Borders were the posh end.
Okay.
Yeah. You were thrown at the back of the class. If you knew nothing, you were just left there. But the Borders were the main.
But you weren't too fond of school then?
No, because I never got taught at. I was always thrown at the back of the class.
And was that because you were just not that way inclined, or was it just because they looked down the nose around?
Well, they kind of looked down their nose and they didn't really show much interest, to be honest with you. So when they weren't showing interest, so why would I, as a child? I knew no better. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I knew what to do at that, you know. So that's basically it. I really got taught not much. They didn't care.
Okay. And the other way at that time too, there was loads of boys and girls out here.
There was.
Like, what's your memory of growing up out here?
Oh, where do I start? We had
Start somewhere.
such memories, I swear. Oh, should we done everything? We went everywhere. You were like, you got dressed in the morning, you were out on the green, you just played all day, you never went home unless you were hungry, and half the time you wouldn't want to go home because you were having so much fun. You'd be either up on the swings in John's Park, we'd be playing rounders in the square, we'd be swinging on the poles, we'd be playing knocks, we'd be playing beddies, we'd be skipping, we'd be up in the mental robbing the orchard, we'd be out to the majors swimming, we'd be playing 2 balls in the arches. We had so much out of little, like our ties were little, they were 2 balls, a pair of tights, you'd have 1 ball in a pair of tights, 1 leg, and you'd be swinging the ball over and back in the arches. So we got thrown out of the arches more times from the noise of the ball. Poor Mrs. Barrett and Aggie Myler must have had a pain in their heads with us, but we didn't understand, we kept doing it. Do you know, but yeah, they were like, it cost nothing for us to play. Absolutely nothing. We played with nothing. We got boxes and we got all the TTs out of the pubs down here, and we come down, we make a hole in the box and you throw all the TTs in. We got your TT in. We played the Knucks, which were brilliant. We got them out of the foundry. Still have them.
They're collector's items, aren't they?
They're mine. I'm 54 years of age now. Look at them. No one getting them. But yeah, we played with absolutely nothing and cost nothing. And then in the summer when we'd be off school, there were so many of us in it. My mother, and we'd be all the children, everyone in the square, the biggest to the middle, would bring all the small children, babies and all, off out the country roads. We'd be gone for the day. We'd be given the bottles for the babies. You wouldn't be given yogurts now or anything like that. They wouldn't have any mixed up food, or you'd be given a bottle. And that's it. That was the baby's food for the day or whatever. And you're off for the day, gone, and don't come back until 6 o'clock, and you wouldn't come back. So mother would be able to do the house and washing and everything. And yeah, you wouldn't go back with everyone's and anyone's children. And we were gone all day. Not a care in the world and not a worry in the world. Our parents never had to worry about us because there was nothing going to happen to us. We were so safe in the area. Do you know what I mean? It was such a safe area and such a lovely place to grow up, really. Really was.
And you don't mind them now back there, but what about meeting boys and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, meeting boys. You really want me to go down that road now? Well, we had the athletic field up there.
Okay, I was not running around.
There was an awful lot of running around up there, but there was a good few athletic. The athletic club was up there, so there were a good few of us in that as well. But as boys go, the Kilcombe wasn't there.
Actually, the girl, what's the name of the girl of the athletic club? Was she Hannigan? No?
Breathe Quilty.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, she was some runner there.
Great runner.
Yeah, an absolute great runner. They had blue and yellow, blue jerseys and yellow stripes on them. Yeah, but they were brilliant, and a lot of stuff kind of went on up there as well. And
just meeting each other and all that.
Yeah, yeah. And over there where Kilcone is just there at the start, that was all, kind of all high grass field. That's where we used to be running around hiding. We used to hide in the high grass. And all the boys would be following if somebody used to play kiss and chase. And if you got caught then you'd have to give them a kiss. But I made sure I never got caught. Would you believe that? But yeah, they were kind of, yeah. And then we spent an awful lot of time up in Johnville, up in the Johnville field during the day because there'd be no matches on. And like when Dad would be off, we say the weekend, Mum and a couple of the neighbours, and we'd all up to Johnville then, and we'd be just running around for the day, and they'd bring a picnic. And we'd all sit down then and have a picnic, and the same up in Father Pat's. All the women would be all sitting up there doing their knitting or their crocheting, and the whole lot of mammy they'd be all sitting there, and all the kids would go up, buggies, prams, you name it, be all lined up, and we'd be playing on all the stuff all day. Like, it was such fun and all innocent and harmless, and no fighting, no blackguard, no messing.
And you were talking about knitting and crocheting and all that. Was there a lot of that kind of stuff where people were making things for their children?
Oh yeah, they'd been knitting for their children, blankets, little cardigans, you name it. And if they could sell them to someone else that had a baby coming along, fair enough, should that get them their dinner the next day?
And then
you know what I mean?
Hand-me-downs.
Oh, hand-me-downs, Ash. Look, I grew up on them. Don't think I ever really owned my own knickers then I got married. It was all shared.
So
And the socks, when the elastic be gone out of the top of them, you'd have elastic bands then, you turn down the top of them to keep your socks up. Because you couldn't have your socks rolling down around your ankles.
And then what about going into town? Did you ever go into town much?
When I went into town, I think I was about 14 or 15 then when we started going to town. Maybe about 14. Went to the New City Club in there, and Big Tom and whatever. I was 15 at the time. That's where I met my husband, in there.
Where's New City Club?
That was the Olympia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was called the Olympia. Yeah. So we went in there. That was my first real, kind of real going out. Other than that, then we went to Mount Zion Disco. But yeah, I was 15 or 16, 15 I think, when I went into the Olympia. Yeah, that's where I met my husband then. And I'm with him since.
And was there any other things out here for boys and girls? Like, was there dances or any discos? Or anything?
Well, we did go to the Ursuline Hall. We had discos and that over there, and the Sacred Heart, all that. And that burnt down, but we had a good few fun nights now over there in it was an old church, you know, but yeah, it was great. Great times that way as well, and we spent a lot of our time out in the majors as well. You know what I mean? Like, there was so much to do out here because it was all fields and you just had so much space to run, and the safety was another issue. Like, it was so safe out here. It was unreal, you know.
And you're this whole thing about the Johns Park gang, or how tough it was out here.
But sure, look, you had the Johnnies and you had the Townies. Do you know what I mean? So if the Johnnies went into town, then the Townies would try to pick a fight on the Johnnies. So then there might be a big fight in town. And then the following week, then the Townies would come out because maybe the Johnnies bet the Townies. So the Townies come back out looking for revenge. But it wasn't anything, do you know what I mean? Major. No one ever got murdered. Someone probably got a dig and a slap. Do you know what I mean? It's not like now they don't go around with knives and whatever. Like, them times, if someone put you down, if they knocked you down, you were down, they didn't go at you again. Do you know what I mean? They left you alone. Not at all. No, it was punches and fighting, and Townies went back into town. The Johnnies stayed here, and they were all, yeah, we bet them this week, we bet them next week. Stupid things like that, but it was all innocent. Do you know?
And would you be involved? The girls be involved?
Not at all. Must be joke. Girls, we won't do that like that, oh.
So would you two ladylike?
Oh yeah, but sure, look, we spent a lot of our time like in the square or down by the telephone booth, or, do you know what I mean, hanging around the old shipper, or when the church was built in the arches. Spent a lot of our time in the arches and going up the side of the arches.
And eventually the arches got blocked up.
They did.
And was that a big disaster?
It was a very big disaster. Because people have to walk all the way around now. But even at the time, like, it was so sad to see him go, because your memories are all there. Do you know what I mean? So when they go then, and I won't say your memories go, but like, I'd love to be able to walk through an arch now and just, you know, look all around and take it all back in from all, you know, from the years ago. Just all the memories were brilliant.
Lots of graffiti and all that kind of stuff.
They wouldn't have been big, it was only from chalk.
Yeah.
Do you know, you'd be chalking on the walls, there wouldn't be any paintwork or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? It was all chalk, you could wash it off.
But so for the young people, it was a disaster for blocking up the arches.
I would think so, yeah.
But for the adults,
even like when I used to go to work, like I started working then out in, we say HB Chemie, out in the estate, and I'd like in the square then we had an arch in the square, Mrs. Barrett and what's her name? Aggie Myler. Poor Aggie, she was an old gem. And it was up through them arches we go, and then the bus stop was only at the corner, whereas then you had to come all the way down all around and go up, and you could miss your bus, you'd be running. But you know, like them kind of things, it was kind of tough on people. And the elderly people too, that used to take the shortcuts, you know, cutting through to go to the shops and whatever. They kind of missed it, I think, at the start as well, so, yeah.
And can you remember any of the old characters that we used to live around way back? When you were a child? Do you remember any of those people?
Sure, poor Nanny Rowe. Poor Nanny Rowe, what Kenty Rowe, everyone was terrified for. But you'd knock on her door, no one, she'd terrify you, and you'd be running. But the knockadolly we used to play now, and the fun we had was great as well. Who else? The older characters. Poor Nancy Freeman, she was a lady in the square. Mrs. Mack in the square. Aggie Myler, as I said, she was a gem. The stories she used to tell, you'd be roaring laughing.
And someone said that, are you related to the lady that used to do the fortune telling?
No, that's Frances, that's Mrs. Dial. No.
Do you remember her?
I do. We were kind of frightened to go near her door because...
Would people believe it?
People were believing it, but as children we were kind of nervous because, you know, like everyone used to be saying, and I know it's awful, like, she's kind of a witch now, don't go into her, because she tells fortunes and everything. And you won't go in knocking on the door. You'd be terrified. That's one door you didn't play Knockadally on. You skipped that house. Because you'd be very nervous. But yeah, the fun was just unreal. The safety, as I said, was unreal. The friends were amazing. Do you know, it was
And you
absolutely brilliant.
You used to always sing each other asleep and all that.
Yeah.
Did you ever get involved in singing in groups or?
Well, I sang in the myself, my sister Carla sang in a lot of the singing pubs. We sang a lot in talent shows because my dad done an awful lot of the singing pubs, Jimmy. So we were in them, and we won here one year as well. We won in the Woodman. He done it in there as well. But he raised an awful lot of money, we say, for St. Patrick's, and he raised an awful lot of money for cerebral palsy. Because I have a sister with cerebral palsy, so he was big into that and making sure they got a holiday every year. And
he wasn't playing an instrument, he just sang?
No, Daddy just sang, yeah. He was a great singer though. Oh, he sang Joe Dolan. He sang Sweet Caroline. He sang, oh God, what were all the rest of his songs?
Lots.
Oh, lots, yeah. But he's great. He was a great singer.
And what about,
really was.
Did any of you get involved in the Tops of Town?
My sister Carol was in the Tops of Town. Yeah, she's in all the shows now in town as well. Okay. So she's kind of big into all the singing. I kind of only done, say, like the singing pubs or talent shows and stuff that Dad ran, you know.
So, Ellen, would you sing a song for us?
Oh, be God, and I couldn't.
Go on, for that, please, go on.
I won't be able to sing now.
Go on, it doesn't matter. Just sing a verse. Just a verse. Can you do Mary Black song?
I used to sing Mary Black.
Go on.
When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, and there is no one there to dry your tears, I could hold you for a million years to make you feel my love. And I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I will never do you wrong. And I've known it from the moment that we met, no doubt in my mind where you belong. I go hungry, I go black and blue, I go crawling down the avenue. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. That was actually Adele. I'm a bit hoarse now at the moment. That was Adele.
Sorry. But just that whole thing about women in the area, because I suppose I think it's important to talk about. There was a lot of strong women out here, wasn't there? Like, within the community, like it was.
There were.
People were talking an awful lot about different men involved in different committees and all that. But the women were also.
Oh, we had a lot of women now on. We had Babs now ran an awful lot of things, and we used to go to Butlins every year, and Mrs. Hayes. We used to go down every weekend, and if Daddy'd come down through the arch, and he'd be after getting paid, and you get your 2p wages every week. Then we all got 2p, an old 2 pence. So out of the 2p, you could get a nice lolly and crisps and jellies and whatever. But you could go down and knock on her door, Mrs. Hayes, and you could give her a half a penny. And if you found a half a penny on the street, you'd run in with that to her. We had all the TK lemonade bottles out of no matter where, if you were privileged to get a bottle of lemonade or whatever, or you'd find lemonade bottles somewhere in the fields or whatever, but you bring them down here, then down to the pub, and you get a penny on them, and we'd be collecting all the lemonade bottles and the whole lot, and we'd always get our money back on them, but we'd be fighting over the bottles. No, it's my turn this week, it's my turn that week. And if we found a bottle, then we'd share it, but we'd go up to Mrs. Hayes then, and we might give her the half a penny to pay off for our butlins. And they'd, all of us then, loads of children, bus loads off to Butlins for the day, but you'd be paying in, and you could be paying in for 6 months, like, before you'd have the bus paid. And you might get a pound, you might have a pound, not even a pound, 50 pence to spend, and you'd be up there and your mother give you a packed lunch, and your old swimming togs if you were lucky to have one, or a knickers. And off you went for the day, and a towel, and a packed lunch. You'd be after paying for it yourself, and we'd be all gone for the day. And that happened every year. And there was crowds and crowds and crowds of us, busloads of us, from John's Park, all children, from buggies. Parents went, children went on their own, we often went on our own, all our friends, and what an amazing time we had. It was absolutely brilliant.
And Eithne, would you show us the nooks there before we finish?
Oh, these are nooks. We got these in the foundry. Anyone working in the foundry, we all got nooks. But sure, we went through so many of them, but we all lost them. But I held on to mine. I have them years and years now. But such fun, sitting on doorsteps and sitting on the path.
And there was loads of stages to it,
Oh, there was. Yeah, the first stage you have to get them all on the back of your hand, 5 of them together, and then turn around and grab them all. And then you leave the 4 down, and you had to throw up one and pick one up at a time and leave that aside and do the same until that was gone. And then you threw up, you had to throw them all out then and see where they land and hope you get 2 near each other. Then you had to throw it up and pick 2. Throw it up and pick 2. Right? And then you throw out again and you pick up your 1. This was the one always to throw up. You threw up your 1 to pick the 1, and then you had to grab the 3. Right? It started 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. You had to pick the 5. On the 5th one, then you had to get it this on the back of your hand, and then you had to get all these
in your fingers.
yeah, in between all your fingers. Right, now that's a small one. Put that one up here. Then you had to get all these in between your fingers, right? And then you had to turn that in around there and get all these back in here without leaving them foul. And that was, if you left one foul, then you have to start again. Yeah. And then there was upsies and downsies and all that. It was just, yeah. That went on for hours and hours every day. But everyone was brilliant at it.
And you had the balls up against the wall, throwing the balls up against the wall.
Yeah.
Can you remember any of the rhymes?
Oh. Play on over Mrs. Brown, upsy Mrs. Brown, downsy Mrs. Brown. What else? Oh, what were the other ones, eh?
I will remember them, suppose.
Yeah. Oh, we had so many, and skipping and... Yeah, and the Betties.
Skipping rhymes. Remember any of the skipping rhymes?
Tilly on the telephone.
Yeah. Go on, give us.
Tilly on the telephone. Tilly on the telephone. Miss Loop, you're out. No, you're very good, so you might as well run out. What was the other ones? Oh, come on, someone help me.
Now we'll come back to them.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to ask? Okay.
So these are the nooks anyway we used to play. Oh, sure. We lived on the footpaths and on the doorsteps. So you had to start off, first off, you had to have the 5 of them in your hand. And then you had to turn them over and get all 5 on the back of your hand and turn them back and grab them all in. That was the first one. The next one then, you had to get them on the back of your hand again, leave one, keep one, and then, sorry. You had to throw them out, and you pick one of the outsider ones because you had to go for 2 and 2. So you throw one up to grab 2, you throw the other one up and grab 2. Right, that was the second game. Then the next game then, third one, you threw out and you picked the outside one. Then you threw up one to pick one and you threw up the other one and you had to grab the 3. So the 4sies was you threw up the thing and left the 4 down and got the one back in your hand. So 5sies then was you threw them up and whatever was laid on the back of your hand you kept. If there was 1, there was 1. If there was 2, there was 2. Other than that then, you had to put all the rest of them in between your fingers. And you could get, say there was 1 on the back of your hand, you had to turn that one around and grab it in here. And then get all them in between your hand, and if you didn't even fall then you were on to the next stage. But that's the way it went on, and you just played all day with them. Okay.
Off your way.
Twosies. Missed that one. It's been a long time since I played. Now wait, let's see which one I pick. So I need the nearest three together.
It's very hard.
Yeah. So I picked this one, leave that down, and have to get. Now you're allowed 3 tips. You can do a tip right, tip in,
Oh yeah, I forgot
tip
that.
in, and tip in to get them together. And then you have to get the 3 of them together. Right? And then so long as I played, then you have 4sies. Throw up one and leave one down. Then you throw and grab the 4. Right? And 5sies then was on the back of your hand and balance them in as much as you can. Oh. Yeah, we'll leave that one there. Now that one there, that one there, and that one there. So you had them then, you had to grab that in the middle of your hand, just pretend. And get all them in then, without leaving any foul. And if you passed all that then, that was the first game, which was brilliant. Oh yeah, then we had another one, you had to do them all together. You threw them all down. Oh, that was the first one. Pick up one, then you pick up the other. Then the other.
Alright, you hold them on.
And then the other, you had to have them all together. And then, as I said, then you had the 2sies. But you were allowed tips, like, to tip them in, do you know? And then you could do that and pick them up again. Then you were, drop them once, and then you were allowed to tipsies in as well, to grab the 2 of them together. And then, like that, and
Right.
everything.
I suppose it was interesting because if girls and boys did this one, didn't
Girls and boys. Well, the boys played more or less Chinese.
they? Marbles.
Yeah, they done the Chinese, and we kind of more or less done this, you know. But this was more kind of a girls' game rather than a boys, you know. But you had to. It was all about the balance and all about getting them all in between. But it was great fun.
Yeah,
You know,